What's up, everybody? It's Marcus Nash. I'm back with another vlog. This time I want to talk about the injustice that the black woman and the black man are not receiving in America. Obviously, we all learned today that none of those officers were going to be brought up on any charges in the Breonna Taylor case. And obviously that deeply saddens not just me, but most of the world. Saddens anybody that has a heart. I mean, here is a lady that was in her home, minding her own business, didn't have nothing to do with anything, and shot down in cold blood. And nothing's gonna be done about it. It's cold-blooded. You know, I sit here and often, and just like anybody else, I mean, I do a lot of thinking, I do a lot of soul searching, and I find myself wondering, you know, if people in this country really truly do, you know, care about blacks. Because, for instance, my nephew, Christopher Okamoto, little Chris, he was a skateboarder. He was only 21 years old. And he was killed by a Bakersfield police officer 2 years ago, August 19th, 2018. And they're trying to justify the shooting. I don't know how you can justify shooting a 21-year-old kid who's behind an iron gate or iron screen door, you know, and shoot through that iron screen door 8 times, hitting him 6 times and killing him. I don't know how you justify that. And a lot of people, you know, obviously we as the people, we're pretty upset and we're heartbroken that, you know, we're constantly being, you know, gunned down by police officers and law enforcement in general. Now, don't get me wrong. All police officers are not bad. There are actually some good police officers out there, I know. I have a few friends that became police officers. I'm a basketball coach, and a lot of the young kids that I used to coach, quite a few of them grew up to become police officers, and they do good work. But there's some police officers out there that are not doing good work. They're getting away with bloody murder. I had a talk with one of my friends recently, you know, that's a police officer, and we was discussing this. We was having this conversation, and it's, you know, he was telling me how, you know, some of his friends, you know, he had to let go because of how people are perceiving police officers. And he's a good friend of mine. And again, you know, when we speak about the police and the things that the police are doing and getting away with, we're only speaking to those police officers or about those police officers who are practicing the wrong side of the law. Killing people innocently and placing things on the scene to make it look like, you know, it was more than what it was and things like that. I'm just heartbroken over the Breonna Taylor killing. I'm heartbroken over all of the killings that have taken place, you know, in the last few years. One of the things that's getting me, and I notice as these things continue to occur. You know, I have a lot of friends of different races, cultures, color, and we often have, we'll sit down and we'll talk and chop it up about some of the issues and some of the things that are going on out there. And sometimes it gets a little uncomfortable because you know sometimes you'll have certain people that you're friends with that are not black, that don't understand what it's like being black, you know saying things like, well, all lives matter, and not understanding how that's offensive. Now, for those who are still going around saying all lives matter, we know all lives matter. It's not about it not being about all lives. But today, Black lives matter. Understand this. Today, Black lives matter. Black lives matter. All lives do matter, but Black lives matter too. That's all we're trying to say. We're not saying just that only Black lives matter. We're saying all lives matter, but we also want people to understand that so does Black lives. Our life matters too. Please stop killing us. Please stop gunning down our nephews and our cousins and our sons and daughters and nieces. Stop doing that. That's all we're saying. This has been going down for decades, centuries. It's been going down for centuries. Look what happened to the young boy Emmett Tillman. We're talking about a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old boy brutally killed, beaten, found in a lake with chain around his neck, beaten into a pulp because somebody lied and said he whistled at a white lady. In fact, the lady who claimed that he did that not long ago admitted that it never happened. But even if it did, what is the justification of a white person killing a young Black 14-year-old boy because he whistled? When I think and I go back and I look at history and I look at some of the things that happened back in the 60s and the 50s and beyond, like not being able to go into a bar where there's white people, not being able to go into a restaurant where there's white people, not being able to attend the Oscar Awards when you're nominated for an Oscar because you're Black. I heard a story once that Lena Horne, back in the days, was in Las Vegas at a hotel, and back then, in during those time periods, Blacks were not allowed on the Strip. Blacks were not allowed to perform on the strips. They weren't allowed to be in any of the hotels on the Strip. They had to be in places outside of the Strip. And here, I heard a story once that Lena Horne put her foot in the pool to feel the water, to see how cool the water was, and they drained the pool. Think about it. Because some Black person stuck their feet in a swimming pool, they decided to drain the pool. These are the things that we're talking about. These are the things that we're talking about. When shit like that happens, and has happened, and continues to happen, and nothing's being done about it, And then when we bring it up, the first thing people want to say is, oh, y'all bringing up all that old stuff. I don't give a damn how old it is. It still happens today. When I was 15 years old, or 16 years old, me and my best friend, we played basketball in high school. We used to have some friends that lived in Burbank, California, right around the corner from Warner Brothers Studio. There was one bus that get us to the main street, and sometimes we can get that second bus that go down that main street, but if you missed it, you might as well walk because it was going to be about an hour before the next one come. And it was only like probably 5 or 6, 7, maybe 7 blocks, so we would walk it. And every time we would be walking in Burbank, we would get harassed by the police because we was 2 young black kids walking down the street in a white neighborhood, and we would get stopped while we're on foot. They would pull up to the side of us, tell us to stop, ask us our name, ask us for our ID, search us, put our hands on top of our head, ask us where we're going. We tell them where we're going. We're just going to visit some friends. Who? We tell them who. What's the address? Well, we don't know the address by heart. We just know where they live. They would harass us. And I remember one time they told us we had 5 minutes to get out of Burbank because we didn't live there. They asked us where we live. So we live in North Hollywood. They said, well, you guys got 5 minutes to get out of Burbank. If we come back around and we see y'all in Burbank, y'all going to jail. For what? Going to jail for what? What are we going to jail for? We didn't do anything. We're high school basketball players. We're just going to see some friends of ours. But because we were black, you know what that cop told us? He told us we didn't belong there. He said, y'all don't belong in Burbank. Get out of here. Get your ass back to North Hollywood. And if we come back around here and we see y'all, you're going to jail. It's things like that that happen. That happened to me at 16. I never told my mom. I remember I had a job, 14 years old. They had a program called the Summer Youth. Called the Summer Youth Program, and it was a program designed for underprivileged kids, who came from underprivileged families, and they give you a job for the summer, and they'll place you someplace, and you work there the whole entire summer. I took advantage of it because it was an opportunity for me to help my mom, and also for me to buy school clothes and school supplies and things like that. Back then, and I was making $3.35 an hour, so every 2 weeks I would get a check for $167.50. So I was working in this place. I won't say the name of the place, but it was a place where older people would go and play bingo and and hang out and just socialize and stuff like that. And also, they would serve them lunch and all that stuff. So I was there. Make a long story short, I noticed one day I was not allowed to take food to the table. I love taking the food to the senior citizens because it gave me so much joy to hand them food, and they tell me thank you, and I felt so good that I fed some. I was feeding somebody, and I noticed that they stopped letting me do it. And all of a sudden, they would have me in the kitchen all the time and scrubbing the floor and scrubbing the oven and just doing all the work that I just couldn't understand why they had me doing this stuff. And one day I asked this guy's name was Abe. He was an older white man, about 80 years old. And I asked him, I was like, Abe, he worked, he was one of the guys, one of the senior citizens there, but he also helped volunteer in the kitchen. And one day I asked him, I said, Abe, Mr. Abe, can I go back? Why won't they let me go back out there and serve the food? I like doing that. And he told me straight up, he said, well, this is, mind you, this was back in 1988. He said, some of the people here are complaining about you. They don't want a black person, serving them their food. So they decided to put you the kitchen so that you didn't be out there where they could see you. And at that time, I didn't know any better. I didn't understand, how that worked or what to do in a situation. I didn't understand it. I just didn't comprehend because I just couldn't understand why anybody would have a problem with that. And eventually, by the end of that week, they told me I couldn't work there no more. And mainly because the people didn't want to see me in there. And I'm saying this stuff because I'm telling you that all these types of things have been going on for years. The discrimination, the hatred towards blacks, not just the police, people in general that just don't like blacks. And so with all these killings that we've all witnessed, it took for the George Floyd horrible incident to take place for people to finally get the voice and have a meaningful voice where they finally, give us the opportunity to be heard, because we weren't going to take no more killing like that. I just wish that we could live in a world where we're all looked at as an equal, and I don't see it happening. I mean, Martin Luther King asked for that in the 1960s, and here we are in 2020, and we're still not looked at as an equal. It just astounds me. It's incomprehensible that we're still dealing with racism in America. It's crazy. Again, like I said, it hurts me to the heart to know that this young lady is not going to get the justice that she deserves for being murdered, or any of the other victims who were murdered. The young man that was shot in the back recently survived it. God spared his life. But there were so many others whose lives did not get spared. And it pisses me off when people get upset because we want to be heard and we just want equality. So now you got all these other people running around, acting like, what we're doing is so horrible because we want justice. Look at the young man who running around like a vigilante, 17 years old with an assault AR-15, not even old enough to have a gun like that, and shoots and kills 2 people. And then again, you go back and you look at the KKK, and you look at the things that the KKK used to do. The craziest thing that I think one of the craziest things I've seen and heard, there's a guy named Johnny Rebel. This guy used to make racist records. And the records that he would make were beyond imagination. Songs where he's blatantly using the N-word and saying nigger smell and all these different things. I'm going to play a little bit of this content, and so you guys can have an idea of what I'm talking about, because it's incomprehensible. So here's one of his songs that he made called where is it at? Where's it at? It's called Niggers Don't Die. They just smell that way. And it's unbelievable that somebody could make a song like this for entertainment. If I can pull it up. If I can pull this song up. Where is this song at? Let's see. I'm going to find it. And I'm going to play it for you guys. And I want you to hear for yourself what this guy says. Give me 1 second. Let's see. I think this is it right here. Yeah, this is it. So I want you guys to take a listen to this song. It's called Some Niggers Never Die. And people wonder why, we're upset and we want justice and we want equality and we want, people to understand. It's songs like this. Just listen to this shit. Now, what kind of shit is that? I don't even. I can't do this, man. I can't even listen to this no more. This is unbelievable. But it's those type of songs. It's that type of thinking. It's that type of mentality. It's that type of attitude. It's that type of hatred directed towards us that gets us, so upset. How could people not understand that? I mean, who the hell, why would anybody make a song like that? He made a whole lot of other songs like that too. And I wanted to play that because I wanted you guys to understand. This has been going on for years. This same song came out in the 50s. Okay? And there's been a whole host of other songs like that that have come out. Now, I'm gonna do another vlog, soon where I touch on a lot of other things, cartoons and other things where there's blatant racism, in the content, just right in our eyes. And it's still going down like that today. So, with that said, I'm gonna end this vlog by saying that my heart, my thoughts and my prayers go out to Breonna Taylor and her family and the rest of, the fallen blacks that have been killed, by law enforcement. And people are going to sit up there and say, well, look at all the black on black crime and this and that and this and that. Okay, yeah, we get it. We get it. There's a lot of people from where there's that culture killing that culture. We understand that that's going on. And that's something that we definitely want to have an impact on, and obviously we want to make sure that that ain't happening either. But before we can do that, we gotta get the police to stop killing us. We gotta get the police to stop killing our kids. And we need people to start understanding where we're coming from and stop trying to go against us. Stop hating on LeBron because LeBron James, ain't gonna give $100,000 to the LA Sheriff Department. That's that man's money. He don't have to give them. What the hell he need to give them $100,000 for? For what? And how the hell could anybody get mad because he ain't doing it? Anyways, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button, and make sure you hit the bell button. So when I drop this next video, you guys will be the first ones to get it. Until then, I see y'all on the next episode. Peace.